their needs. So we've been kind of pivoting away from larger scale events to stuff that's smaller scale but more regular. So it's kind of part of our, it's kind of like we turned around and says, oh, we kind of created we've been working for a year on like the perfect meetup platform. So it's just kind of like, oh shoot, like look at this. And that's kind of where we found ourselves. This is actually our second meetup. So you're pretty much right here on the ground floor.
That's nice. Yeah, totally. I feel I've been using Zoom for my meetup. Started as an in-person meetup, but then with the start of the pandemic, like we turned to digital, and it's actually like the community has grown since then because you're not. It's kind of easier to participate and join in. So there's some things, and I don't see us going back to I mean, I'm sure we'll have like 1 or 2 events in person, but like for the type of meetup that I host, it's just a lot easier to like log in after work as opposed to like we're not like doing wine tastings or stuff like that. Although
exactly.
Does sound fun.
Well, there's a couple services out there now. You get everyone to sign up and they send you a little box. And but yeah, you're right. You don't necessarily need to like go find a venue. You don't need to worry about the commutes. It really kind of changes a lot. I don't think we're ever going to I don't think anybody's ever going to go back to thinking that like, hey, we only do in-person events. It's just the world both expanded and contracted all at the very same time. And so it's always going to be a mix. But a lot harder to do wine tasting when you're just sitting in front of your computer. It's definitely true.
We could do it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Well, I'm thinking of my aunt did a wine tasting, and as she was rolling the glass, poured it all over her keyboard.
Nice.
Yeah. Computer was out of commission for like 3 or 4 days. Yeah.
But as you said, David, I think also if you look at development, I mean, TV did not knock out the radio, right? And like all these developments that happen, it's like still there are TV shows, even if there are a lot of them are on the computer, and it's just the distribution or the usage. And the pandemic certainly has shown that people have the social needs to hang out in a more and voice trumps text anytime, which is why the audio platform has been able to boom, because you can hear so much more intonation, and the misunderstandings are fewer than in text. And also for the international thing, I think this is stellar. Again and again, I come back to this, when you can actually see people, especially if you don't speak the same language or you don't have the same subculture. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So one thing doesn't necessarily, and that's what I preach to my artists, because it's like, great that you now know how to do YouTube lives or Instagram lives and whatever. You're going to have to get used to that. Sometimes you perform on a stage, and sometimes you perform on a stage in Singapore, even though you are in Las Vegas, So just get used to it. It's going to get better.
And then also it will change and mutate in ways you can never expect. I mean, just to think about the trajectory of radio, but really to think about just the trajectory of like audio as a medium. It was huge. Obviously, when it first came out and changed the world. Then TV comes out and its power wanes, and now people, the radio, how much is maybe don't listen to the radio as much as they used to, but all of a sudden podcasts, this new audio medium.
If you think about where the best podcasts came from, like a lot of those people are ex-NPR, ex-WNYC, like the first crop of like very successful podcasters came from radio.
Right, but they were incubating all that time. It's still that same thing. They take the same thing and
Some of the best people on the metaverse or these kind of things many of them are gamers or video developers or
absolutely.
It's a medium that they know, right? I'm not the gamer per se, but I'm a wannabe gamer. So I hang out with gamers because they know this crap, like they know this shit, right? So if I want to merge the world into the metaverse, because this is what I feel, it doesn't matter if you're a shoe salesman or a surgeon needing to teach your students, this medium can be used by anyone, but you need to hang out with people that are doing things like podcasting when they're radio people or gamers because they're metaverse. So you have to learn how to speak the lingo.
One thing I've been wondering, and I don't know if people have coined a term for it, but at what point will we spend more than 50% of our lives online, like in spaces like this? And what will that be called? Like, will that be called, I don't think it can be called like the flippening or something like that, but I feel like
I think online for sure, like not in like an immersive environment, but yeah, online for sure.
Hey, snuck up on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a remote worker, so I work from my house. I definitely spend more than 50% of my life, like behind a screen in this position. And if like let's say my company decided to stop using Zoom and start using a platform like Nowhere, like is there a future where we would spend 50% of our lives in this simulation? And if you're like a drone pilot, like that is literally your job. You spend 50% of your life like in a box.
Would we be sitting at our desk in Nowhere with headphones on, trying to ignore the other people?
Well, I think back too to think even going back all the way to Google Glass and the way that using just AR to totally augment your life too, where you could essentially, if you wear glasses, could be spending essentially 100% of your waking life suffused in a liminal, partially real, partially virtual space.
Sorry.
Hello, Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Hi there, guys. Hi. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to come and join the conversation over here. It looks great.
No, all good. Jump on in.
So fun.
little pod puddle.
Okay.
You can click on people's faces, by the way, if you want to learn their name.
Yep, and connect, right? Is that
totally right.
Kind of like, does everyone try to connect with everyone else, or is that like only when you want to talk to someone again?
It's you connect if you want to share contact information, keep up with folks.
Cool.
So I'm always happy to connect myself. So I work. My name's David. I work here in Nowhere.
Nice. Well, I have not fully populated my connection information, but I'm going to connect and then afterwards add all the details.
All good. All good.
Cool. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
So that's a little bit above my head, unfortunately. I know that we use Blend. I know we use Blender is where a lot of our stuff is rendered.
Happening now.
Yeah, there actually absolutely are. Actually, let's definitely. Have we connected yet? I don't think we have.
John.
Yeah.
Oh, you're John from Nowhere.
I am. I have been known to be John from Nowhere. You were
Yes.
from Latinx blockchain.
Yes, that it is I.
Sweet.
And then behind you is Alex from
Yeah.
It's
And we go way back.
well the
Really?
if you fly out away from the space, I actually think you'll find it's got that similar the way that they're.
Hi everyone. Okay.
It's got a similar vibe.
Sorry to interrupt conversations. We welcome everyone to this installment of Meetups in the Metaverse. Again, the purpose of this meetup is to promote and share varied perspectives on the topic of building and sustaining virtual communities. Every other week, we will feature a discussion with select community leaders to stimulate meaningful reflection on what it's like to create connection using online spaces. What are the advantages? What are the limitations? And how do we overcome them? We call on our community, that's you, the audience, to reflect, brainstorm with one another in conceptualizing a more productive online destination where presence is larger than place. For this week's theme, we will be diving into blockchain and DLT communities. For those of you who don't know, like myself early on before this event, DLT stands for Distributed Ledger Technologies. And we are super happy to welcome Elena Sofia from the Latinx Blockchain Meetup and Alec Lazarascu from the VerseTech Meetup. All of our meetups are held on the Nowhere platform, so I just want to briefly go over the controls one more time on how to express yourself, how to move around. Your arrow keys are going to be your best friend, and as far as moving forward, backwards, side to side. If you're a WASD type of person, you can use the W and S key to move forward and backwards, A and D to sort of orient yourself left and right. But some of the most important features here for Nowhere is being able to express yourself. So you can go ahead and press your space key to jump up and down. Maybe this is the equivalent to a clap in real life. And then if you're feeling really elated and excited about something that someone says, you can just go ahead and press your 1 key. Yeah, give everyone a spin. Everyone likes that. So please use these controls to react to the content you hear tonight. We want you to feel comfortable expressing yourself here, along with everyone else in the metasphere. So just some general announcements. I'd like to say that our next meetup will be on October 14th from 7 to 8 p.m. again, East Coast time, 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Coast time. For the meetup on the 14th, we'll be featuring leaders from different music production groups in the metaverse. So please join again to come hear their perspectives, and don't forget to invite any of your friends who are super into synths or like Ableton. We know those are really big right now. And so they might have something to add to the conversation or learn from the conversation in as far as moving their art forward from a community standpoint. So next, I'd like to welcome to the stage our 2 performers for the night, or speakers for the night. I guess you could think, I guess you could think of a performance.
Surprise.
You know, you could bounce up and down or spin. That's technically a performance. Elena Sofia and Alec Lazarascu, as well as our moderator for the evening, John Morris, co-founder of the Nowhere platform, where we are all blessed to be today. So let's all hop up and down for them as they take stage. Woo.
So I have a question, because now with some of your speakers, I can't see the actual presentation unless I go past you. Is this presentation going to be available somewhere later?
Yes.
It's kind of hard to see both the presentation and then people are in the way.
We can orient ourselves so you can see it.
But I think it
Why
depends.
don't you go to the right, Alec? I'll get. Maybe what we can do. What's your name? I'm gonna see. I'm gonna hover over you. This is kind of awkward, right? Hi, Roxy. Roxy. Oh no! All right, we'll take turns playing musical proximity, growing and shrinking, so you can see. How about that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey everybody, I'm John Morris, CEO of Nowhere. My favorite title of my life. Woohoo! Let me see a jump if you like that title. All right. We got some jumpers here. Maybe for who's first time Nowhere? Let me see you jump. First time Nowhere. All right, we got some first time Nowheres. I love it. Cool. And Elena, first time Nowhere? Oh man.
Yeah.
Sweet. I love it. And I'm meeting Elena for the first time. And Alec and I go way back to 2 weeks ago, so we're old friends. It's an honor to have you guys both here, guys and gals, excuse me. So 90s of me. I would love to introduce you guys, and I'm going to read it because, as I said, Elena and I are meeting for the first time tonight. So I haven't memorized your bio, but Elena, it's a pleasure to meet you, fellow New Yorker, right?
Yes. Well, I'm mid-transplant. I'm not from here originally.
Right. Yeah. But, it's always good to meet other New Yorkers. I'm in Brooklyn right now. How about you?
Nice. Jersey City.
Jersey City? Nice. Anybody else? Jersey City? I know we got one out there.
Really?
Jersey resident.
Okay.
Nice, David.
Nice.
I love Jersey. I'm never going back.
All right.
Yeah, but I also love the Big Apple. But.
So Elena is an incredible product marketing manager at the Electric Coin Company, where she focuses on Zcash and privacy-preserving technology. She co-founded Blockchain Latinx, a monthly meetup that explores what blockchain means for Latinos and for Latin America. Elena has an MBA from New York University Stern School of Business. Yes.
Yay.
Yes. Amen. Scott Galloway fans, anybody? Huh?
Oh, yeah. He people have mixed opinions on him.
I know. Big. Who likes Scott Galloway? Give me a jump. Me. Okay, me.
Who?
Just me. Only me. All right. Anyway. And we'll come back to you and let you share a little bit about your community. But we also have on the stage Alec Lazarascu. Did I say that right?
Very good.
Sweet. All right, I'm hired. Alec is a technology and digital education industry veteran, currently serving as chief architect messaging at Synchronos Technologies. Did I say that right?
That's
really
right.
bad at saying things sometimes, so we have to check. He has overseen technical aspects for a number of award-winning products serving millions of users. Alec is foremost a maker at heart of software, teams, and connections, with his first digital community being his own BBS in high school in the 90s, dating yourself in a beautiful way. Looking good. He's been exploring AI and blockchain in the last 5 years and has been a sci-fi reader since his youth. Metaverse veteran. Okay, guys, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks to the audience. We're going to be chatting with everybody, with these lovely humans for about 15 minutes, and then we'll open the space back up to mingling. So, Elena, I'd love to hear from you a little bit about your community and what you're building and why you built it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is such a cool space. I'm like first time in the Nowhere Metaverse, but certainly not my last. I'm already thinking about maybe hosting my meetup here. So I'll tell y'all a little bit about myself. I love meeting new people and working with emerging technology, and I've been fortunate enough to do that for the last 3 years. I actually started my meetup, Blockchain Latinx, as a way to kind of create a tribe or create a community and honestly just get a job in the space. Because sometimes when there's a rocket taking off, like the best way to get on is to kind of like shoehorn your way in or elbow your way in. And so I thought creating a community would be a good way to do that. So it started out pretty self-interested. But like the first time we did it, I met some delightful random people from the internet, and like we just kept meeting up every month, and we've done that for the last 3 years. It's grown into such a powerful community. Like these people are my friends. This is absolutely like the highlight of my month every month. And while the original focus was crypto adoption in Latin America, or more of an identity play like Latinos in crypto, that's certainly not its limit anymore. We are like, welcome everybody, all shapes and sizes, colors and creeds. And then we talk about everything. So we talk about crypto, we talk about economics, politics, like how all of these different trends are intersecting. So that's a little bit about my community. It's a great place if you are new to crypto and you want to kind of get started. Also, if you're an old hat and you've been working in blockchain for a while and you just want a place to talk shop that isn't like your, husband's friend's cocktail party where people are probably tired of hearing you talk about crypto.
I said the other day, I think crypto is like Burning Man. It's like once you get somebody, like once you ask somebody about Burning Man, it's like the rest of the night you're listening to them talk about Burning Man.
Yes, I mean crypto. Like my husband also works in the space, and like I told him, like we can't be the crypto couple Like anytime people invite us over, it's like
Well,
3,
no.
2, 1, and we're talking about Bitcoin again. Like,
Oh, there they are, the crypto couple. Here they come.
yeah.
Run,
But I
get to
mean,
the cheese, get to the
when you're
wine.
passionate about something, it shows. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and the
That's
group I run.
awesome. That's awesome, Elena. Thanks so much for sharing, and thanks so much for being here. I just wanted to let everybody know, a little housekeeping. I did globally mute everybody because somebody out there had a very loud keyboard. It was hacking away at it. They're building the blockchain as we speak. But feel free to unmute. Just push M to unmute or mute if you want to express yourself, and we can hear you from up here. So feel free to do that. Alec, let's hear a jump and spin for Alec. Hit the number 1 key to express your little excitement. Oh man, so many flippers and spinners. Alec, over to you.
Just crowd surf, just jump into a sea of these little speaker people.
Oh, dude, we got to get the crowd surf feature. Like that should be next up on the build. New to the roadmap, crowd surf. So share a little bit about yourself and the community you're building, Alec.
Yeah, so I mean, the first community I started was 5 years ago, Bots and AI, and I made myself the first speaker because I wasn't sure anyone would come speak other than myself, and that actually worked out really well. We still have events, and we did some blockchain events along with like the chatbots and AI, and I started seeing that a lot of these threads were kind of connecting. I almost, you know that beautiful mind meme where everything's like happening. Like I really see like the metaverse being the connection to all these things, and they actually have a purpose. And I thought I want to meet people in this space. I want to help connect the dots for myself and for others. So I created the group, and we had our first event and had 20-something people. Again, I was the first speaker for now, but we already have more speakers coming, and talked about the creator economy and just kind of what experiences are available in the metaverse, like live concerts there, people creating content for virtual worlds, all the way to the enterprise space, like the digital twins and simulations. So really excited about the potential of the space, and it was great meeting the people in the group and seeing what they're working on too.
Nice, awesome. It sounds like you're creating your own rocket ship as well.
Yes, I hope so.
I like a theme here. The Elena and Alec rocket ship. I want to be on it. So I'm curious, as we're in meetups in the metaverse, and we're talking about tools, we're talking about really cutting, edge technology that's, it's starting to now be more popular, and more people are getting to know it. I think especially with the pandemic trigger for crypto as well as these spaces. What tools are you guys finding that work really well for connection for you and your communities? And what tools are still missing? And what do you wish you had? Either one of you.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll start, I guess. So I'm really just taking some of the original boring tools like mailing lists and Meetup, and trying some new things like the Meetup Pro, where originally Meetup wasn't big on online, and then they kind of, due to the pandemic, tried to embrace a little bit more. But the neat thing about it is that you can create events in kind of a few cities that you think may be interested in the topic. So I picked New York, San Francisco, Dallas, and Austin for the metaverse. And they promote locally, despite it being an online event, and it technically doesn't matter. The fact that the core of their system promotes locally, like you now have a feeder from 4 locations to get people in. It's a bit pricey, so this is going to be an experiment and see how it's going to go. But yeah, I'm trying that out, and it's worked pretty well. We got probably almost 90 people in the first month across all the groups combined. And yeah, just doing the same tactics from Bots and AI, the mailing lists, keeping people in touch on events, having Twitter followers, LinkedIn, finding people in groups that may be interested, and inviting them to come speak, or inviting them to kind of cross-promote events. Like I have that with other groups where we post each other's events. And then that's another thing with the kind of meetup algorithms. When you have events coming up, they promote your group even more. So you always want to try to have like at least one event going as often as you can to get more people. And I'll tell you something that didn't work for me. Originally, way back, I had started a Slack community, and it's sort of a bunch of people joined, and then it was really quiet after like the first couple of weeks because it's hard to keep like a permanent conversation going. And I thought Facebook did a good job at bugging you just enough with like Facebook groups. Whereas if you're something like Discord or Slack, you get bugged constantly or you get bugged not at all. Like there's no like slider just give me like a
notification mid ground.
Yeah. So still figuring out like the chat community, and I was gonna start a Discord. I'm in a few Discords now and seeing what people do because that seems to be doing a little better than Slack for these types of communities. So I'm learning on that aspect myself. So I'm definitely interested in what other people have done there.
Nice. How many people have Discord in the audience?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How many people have Slack? How many people are on Slack all day?
All day, every day.
All day, every day.
I'm gonna die in a Slack channel.
Still on it.
Yeah. Twitch?
No, not twitching yet.
Interesting. I've been to Twitch. I heard about it.
I've been on Twitch. I've attended Twitch events, but have not gone.
I really like
that
creator. I think it's Miko, Club Miko, who is she has a complete digital persona, and she has a like $30,000 VR rig. I think what's her name? I see the lady in the pink hair jumping up and down. Do you know her name? I think it's Miko. Is it Miko?
Miko, right?
Yes,
because
fascinating.
I am half Japanese. No, I'm not, but my identity is still in Japan. I've been in Japan for 8 years, so this is really up my alley because of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to identify as Japanese, I don't think anybody can say anything.
Miko actually is also in Green Room, I think, which kind of came on the wrong way maybe, but yeah, Green Room is another one we're on a lot.
Nice.
How do
I
I
don't know Green Room.
Yeah,
Elena.
Okay, so tools for connection and tools that are missing. I'm a big less is more kind of person, so I feel like it depends on what you're trying to optimize for. So like with Alex's answer, I learned a lot. I've been on Meetup for a while and I did not know you could do those things. So I will be kind of like poking around a little bit more. But I think like if you're trying to grow a big community, then you want tactics that optimize for growth, especially at the beginning. And then once you have a big community or a community of people that you're satisfied with, big enough, then optimizing for connection is slightly different, I have found. So I think you can cover a lot of ground with just the basics like time, place, and a really good topic, or a really good agenda. Like I have been to too many meetings or too many events where they try to boil the ocean in 30 minutes or try to kind of like cover a lot of ground or not allow people to participate. So if you have an agenda, kind of like what we're doing here, that allows people to jump in, kind of allows people to share their experience, it can be really enriching and therefore foster a lot of connection. And then kind of like what Alec was saying too, I'll echo that consistency goes a long way. So if you can have a group that meets regularly, whether that's once a week or once a month or once a quarter, just let people know that they can count on you at a certain time. That helps a lot. And as far as things that are missing, I think a lot of it is kind of these additional like features or kind of digital tactile elements that you miss when you're just staring at a Zoom screen. So before the pandemic, my meetup was in person and it wasn't anywhere near as big as it is now, but it was really cool to like break bread with people or like go get a beer after we're done talking, geeking out about like whatever topic. So I don't know if tools are ever gonna really be able to bridge that gap, but it does seem like we're getting closer and closer in ways that even something as simple as spatial audio features like can make such a difference in terms of, I don't have 3 other tabs open. I'm right here and I can't see myself, which is so relieving. Like how many times have you been on a Zoom chat and you're just looking at your video and like, oh, why does my hair look that way? So yeah, I think it's easier to connect with others when you're not spending so much kind of RAM or like processing power in the back of your brain being self-conscious about yourself.
Yeah.
It's a little meta, not as tool like product focused.
No, it's great, and like self-reflection, Narcissus. I don't think we wanted to carry around the lake wherever we go.
Yeah.
It's and your hair looks great, Elena. Just so you know, everybody
Thank
does
you.
their hair look great. I think we can all help each other out, just like we do.
Hair.
Yeah,
and Tanner's hair
great
too.
hair.
I am the
hair.
pink spider. It's actually from a Japanese song, and it's my
Love
brand. I personally don't like pink, but I don't have to see myself. I look at you guys. But I have been wearing pink hair for the past 20 years, and it's part of my brand.
Amazing. I love it.
Make your hair your brand.
My grandmother likes it.
I'd actually like to know from you both, like, how are you seeing DLT and blockchain really helping out the metaverse and really helping out virtual gathering and really helping humanity come together in better ways? Because I think it's all on our minds. You guys are both leading great groups within this subject matter. I'm such an amateur when it comes to that, and I'd love to know personally and where you see that technology taking us and how it can help.
John, how much time do you have? That's a big question. That's a two-hour question.
You got at least 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll go first and I'll try to be brief. I think that it's such an exciting time to be jumping into the space, or if you've been in the space for a while, you're really seeing kind of the trees bear fruit in good ways and bad. So like in one sense, how do DLT or distributed ledger technologies foster community? They have really found a way to build in incentive mechanisms. So you're rewarded for participating, you're rewarded for engaging in a way that wasn't even possible on Web 2.0 or on traditional social media platforms. So I think like that,
like proof of participation, these type of like badges.
Proof of participation, POAPs, yeah, that's proof of participation is one way, but really even just like token economics. So if I go to a thing and I get a little badge, then that badge can authenticate me on a different platform. So it's more interoperable and kind of just like we have algorithms in traditional social media that can optimize like for ads or target us based on demographics. You now have incentive mechanisms that are built to reward you for participating. So on the positive side, that creates a lot of community. I will say on the negative side, it is creating like a lot of tribalism, and it's creating kind of like this frothing at the mouth that you see with like Wall Street Bets or GameStonk. Like you're seeing people just go ape over
so many white bros.
These funny pictures on the internet. They're not all white, they're not all bros, but they're definitely crazy about what's going on. So in that sense, I think it's accelerating people transitioning into the metaverse.
Nice. Bravo.
Thank you.
Very
I tried to do it very brief.
It was very
yes.
succinct and very and really
How was that?
On point, I think. Alec.
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of value and want to echo the participation. And I'll add that it adds some certainty that you'll be getting paid. You don't necessarily have certainty in utility, like depends on how the NFT was made. might kind of disappear, or the platform that was actually validating it to do something may go away. But if you're selling something, like that could be right in the smart contract, and like here's your cut, and like you're done. You don't have to worry about a company paying you out once you hit like $1,000 earnings, like some of these game systems or anything like that. Like that's huge in terms of knowing what you're going to get when you're going to get it. And there's a lot of opportunities still. Even virtual worlds on the same blockchain, they could have items that are there, but you can't use the items from one game in another. Like the game could potentially know that you own this magic sword of awesomeness, but they may choose not to do anything with it, right? So I think there's a lot of tooling, a lot of incentive structures, as was mentioned, that are in place, but a lot more are needed to actually give you the power to have ownership and utility. If anyone's interested, I have my first video on my Verse Tech YouTube channel. I go over like the different aspects of utility, and some of it's vanity, some of it's social capital, some of it's investment. Like there's 5 or 6 different things, and you don't get all of them all the time, and not all of them are easily transferable. So I think those are places where blockchain can help. Certainly governance and voting in terms of how we manage these worlds. How are we going to deal with copyright infringement? Like, can I sell an NFT of Mickey Mouse, and as long as Disney doesn't find out, like make money? Like, I don't know, maybe today I can, maybe in like a year, there'll be some like voting system to like kick that off the platform. Who knows? But there's a lot of open space still to innovate. So it's really exciting.
Awesome.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Please.
Just because Alec was making me think of this as it relates to governance. So I think what's going to accelerate people coming onto the metaverse is more bridges between like what's meaningful to you in real life and what's you're able to access in your digital life. So with social media, like Facebook was the king of this because they were able to bring your photo albums into a social, like a social world, and then you're able to tag your friends in those albums, and so it gives like like additional layers of meaning. With governance, this is something like in blockchain world, like people are talking about governance until their face turns blue. But there's a whole crop of people who studied political science in college and like didn't really do very much with that. That's me. But we're ready to talk about governance because people have been thinking about like, how do I incentivize voter participation? How do I make citizens more active and engaged? How do I make sure like governments are more reflective of what the societies we want to live in? And in that sense, if you're not familiar with this.
Oh no.
Oh man. Started talking
someone
about
found out.
The metaverse got her,
yeah. Yeah, the
Oh,
metaverse got her. That's what happens when you talk about governance, Elena.
Oh,
Watch
no.
out.
They're
Watch out.
watching.
Big Brother
They're
sees
watching.
you.
Yeah, Big Brother. That was Zuck gotcha. He was like,
You cut
bam.
that out.
That was
Black.
tense.
You're back.
That was tense.
You're back.
I didn't
You
even know what
right?
happened. Whew. Yes. But
That
anyway,
was
all
it.
this I say, Miami Coin is like a really interesting case study because it's a municipality holding crypto, and you don't have to be a citizen to contribute to that fund, but that fund pays like it's to be used locally. So it's a really cool feedback loop of like taking activity offline, online, then online, offline, and back and forth. So I think those feedback loops are really powerful. That's all I meant to say. Not as succinct as the first time around.
Hey, that's great. Well, speaking of succinct, I thanks for Miami Coin. I don't know Miami Coin. I'm psyched to tune into that. And Alec, Elena, thank you guys so much for sharing your time. Time is the most precious thing we have, and thank you for giving it tonight to all of us here. And for everybody in the audience, typically we do a Q&A, but with the number of people here, I'd love to just have us drop down and then use the spatial audio to grab whoever you want to chat with and ask the questions you want to ask of them. And I just want to thank the Nowhere team, Tanner, David, and Savvy for being here and hosting this and putting it together. And thank all of you guys for coming. and to Elena and Alec, thanks for doing the work. And let's chat and mingle. See you down here.
Where's that crowdsurf button?
Woo.
Yay! I'm here.
Did you catch most of the talk?
Yeah,
right.
I
Hello.
dropped out again for like 10 minutes.
This is
There we
so
go.
cool.
Oh my gosh.
Cool.
That was
Hello,
really-
Mehmet. I saw you dropped in about partway through.
Watching like a very official podcast.
Oh, Mehmet, I think you're still
Yes,
muted.
I know.
Would you hit the M key?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, they muted. Yeah, there we go. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working now.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we mute.
Probably related to the
Hi, Mehmet.
Hello.
Cool.
I don't see your name, but I think Anna. Yes.
Like,
Oh, you can, Mehmet, if you click on someone's face, you'll see a little
Okay.
thing pop
35 people.
out.
I just don't want to click their
It's
face.
Oh.
Yeah,
It can be a little crackly.
Okay.
Right, no, you can click away.
exactly.
Hi.
Let me just try. Okay.
Huh. Oh, here, one sec. Why don't we go a little bit closer to the stage just to kind of get away from the conversation?
I'm Tanner, and this is Savi. So we're actually on the Nowhere team, and we're like mostly related to production. So I am super interested in blockchain, all of the stuff that comes with that, but I'm also very much unaware of all of the stuff that goes into it. So my objective here was just to bring in people from those communities to be able to like express and give us some insight into not only blockchain and DLTs, but also like how they're using those to build community and to move forward, and is not only helping one another, but like helping themselves. I feel like I learned so much from this meetup, not only about like blockchain, but like what is available to us, and where it's going. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm.
I'm from everywhere. I'm an alien, legal alien, hence my outer space there. I'm originally from Sweden. I'm currently in Austin, Texas.
Cool.
Last year I lived in Mexico. Prior to that, a decade in Japan. I've been a little bit everywhere.
So I hope to one day be able to build in Blender a world like this. I think my ideal job, I'm like on the community team for Nowhere. So here, just like Sabi, we're both on the community team. I would love maybe one day to not only to like take on a client or to bring in somewhere or bring someone in who has an idea for an event that they want to throw, and then not only like design the space but also produce the event in tandem. So it's like this like cohesion of like for space informing purpose, informing message, informing the event. And like I think that is sort of the future, right? Like we obviously production is still going on very much in person, but like if you're talking about a global audience or like an audience that extends beyond a locality, like this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Yeah.
Because I see that beyond just community building, there are ecosystems out there that are global, such as my own, like the music industry. And when we put together,
really, what's it called again?
Problems to solve, right? So there's plenty of business opportunities because of these problems
We are.
occur when the world is getting smaller and at the same time shut down. So this pandemic has really been so productive and so enlightening on so many places. And I was just thinking that, wow, my head starts spinning with all the things one can do with it, you know, to have education platforms, to have business conversations, to bring in legal. Like I'm right now working with a collaboration between
you would be
an American band, right? And it's like, who does the legal stuff? What if we could just bring in the lawyer right here, you know?
Okay.
We need to do merchant. So all these
I will say that like so one of the things that I'm excited and that's on the Nowhere pipeline, right, is this idea of customizability. Like, so these like expressive forms of like bouncing, spinning, doing all these like gaming style things that lets you like show how you're feeling. one thing that we don't have yet is this ability to like have identity inform how you're being presented, at least like in your pod and stuff. And like people are drawn to that. Artists are drawn to that. Creators, I mean, that it's like all influence on how they're being perceived by others. And I do agree that like being like next to one another is super important, and just like as you are, but in as far as like where the next generation is coming from, who lost